They say, be kind and people will like you. Weak men believe that. The truth? People don't follow kindness. They follow power, disguised as charm. If you want to be exceptionally liked, don't be soft. Be strategic. Don't be warm. Be in control. Likability, real likability, is a weapon, and most people have no idea how to wield it. You want hearts to chase you? Make them feel your absence more than your presence. You want to own a room? Speak less, but make every word land like steel. People aren't drawn to the agreeable. They're drawn to the unshakable, the calm, the composed, the man who walks like he knows something others don't. That's the game. That's how you bend hearts without ever bending yourself. This is not about being friendly. This is about becoming unforgettable through silence, precision, and psychological gravity. What I'm about to give you are not just tips, they are laws. 10 psychological traits used by the most magnetic, most quietly dominant people alive. Each one forged in dark psychology, sharpened with Machiavellian ruthlessness, and sealed by the stoic mind of a man who feels nothing, but sees everything. This is Psygorithm, not a channel, a psychological transformation. Now comment this below, loud and clear. I bend no knee, hearts bend to me. We begin now. Trait 1 is waiting. Number 1, magnetic indifference. They chase what resists them. That's the law. The more accessible you are, the faster your value decays. If you want to be exceptionally liked, not in a weak social way, but in a gravitational, uncontrollable way, learn this. Indifference is irresistible, not laziness, not arrogance. Controlled emotional distance, that is magnetic. Machiavelli never told you to be cold, he told you to appear warm, while staying untouchable. Indifference is the art of being present without being conquered. Most people crave attention, but the moment you stop needing it, you start commanding it. When you're not trying to be liked, they work harder to be seen by you. When you don't rush to respond, they crave your reaction. That's not by accident. That's engineered power. Never compete for space, create space, and let them come to fill it. Speak with restraint, move with intention. Your energy must say, I do not chase, I attract. The world senses it. The more mysterious your rhythm, the more obsessed they become with your presence. People are addicted to gaps they can't close, and you must become that gap. Indifference isn't the absence of emotion, it's mastery of emotion. And when you can sit in that silence without needing validation, you've already won, not because you played the game, but because you became the prize. Number 2, the calculated mirror. People are obsessed with themselves. They don't want to understand you. They want to feel understood by you. That's where power lives. Become a mirror. Not the kind that reflects everything blindly. The calculated mirror reflects exactly what they need to see. Not what's real, but what's useful. Understand this. Likability is manipulation at its most elegant. Make people feel seen, and they'll hand you their loyalty. Echo their language, match their tone. Reflect their insecurities gently, their pride strongly. Never challenge directly, redirect subtly. When they speak, listen like you're absorbing code, because you are. And when you respond, do it like a weapon disguised as empathy. Machiavelli wrote, "Men are won over by the appearance of virtue, not its reality." So appear interested, appear connected, but never lose your emotional sovereignty. You're not bonding, you're infiltrating. You're not opening up, you're collecting data. The mirror doesn't reveal you, it reflects them. And when people see themselves in you, they lower their defenses. They begin to trust. And that's when influence begins, not with power, but with precision, silent persuasion, surgical likability. If you want to be followed, become their reflection. But always remember, you are not the mirror. You are the one holding it. Trait 3 will show you how to make your presence feel like psychological oxygen. Number 3, presence that feeds ego. People don't want truth, they want elevation. They want to feel important, respected, admired. If you can give them that sensation, strategically, you will own their loyalty without lifting a blade. The third trait of exceptionally liked individuals is this: their presence subtly feeds other people's egos while keeping their own untouched. This isn't flattery, that's cheap, obvious. The calculated man doesn't flatter, he amplifies. When he speaks to someone, he doesn't say, "You're great." He says, "People don't see how sharp you really are." He frames the listener as misunderstood, powerful, underestimated, the kind of narrative that people ache to hear, the kind of story that makes them feel both special and seen. That's what keeps them addicted to your presence. Understand, most people walk through the world invisible. When you recognize something in them, real or not, that feels personal, they light up. They attach that feeling to you. You become the source of their self-worth. And that is a position of absolute psychological control. Machiavelli didn't win by force. He won by planting illusions people wanted to believe. That's what this trait is. You don't force anyone to like you. You become the mirror and the spotlight at the same time. Reflect their best self, then illuminate it. Suddenly, they think you're special, when all you did was make them feel special. But remember, never give what isn't earned. That's what separates the manipulator from the fool. Strategic elevation feels rare, calculated. Compliment only when silence would be expected. Praise only when it buys influence. And always, always understate your delivery. Speak praise like a man who rarely gives it, because the less often you validate, the more power it carries when you do. You're not trying to be liked by everyone. You're selecting whose ego deserves to be fed and then using that bond to position yourself where you need to be. Social power isn't about shouting. It's about building silent dependency. The need for your presence, the craving for your approval, the respect that borders on quiet worship. This is how you move through crowds like a shadow. Always noticed, rarely questioned. You build alliances without ever needing to kneel. And when your presence becomes the place people feel most powerful, they will protect you, without even realizing why. This is psychological strategy, not socializing. This is how the liked become the followed, and how the followed become untouchable. Trait 4 will show you how to emotionally disarm anyone, even your enemies, and make them trust you faster than their own blood. Number 4. Emotional disarmament. Power doesn't always walk in loudly. Often, it whispers, it smiles, it listens. The most dangerous individual in any room is rarely the one who dominates with noise. It's the one who knows how to lower everyone else's guard, without ever lowering his own. This is the 4th trait of exceptionally liked people. Emotional disarmament. Not through vulnerability, through strategy, through calculated warmth, through precise empathy used as a blade, not a bond. Understand this. People are walking defenses, emotional armor, insecurities wrapped in rehearsed confidence. Every conversation is a test. Can I trust this person? Will they judge me? Do I need to hide who I am? When you walk in with the ability to lower those walls without ever revealing your hand, they surrender. Voluntarily, even eagerly. That surrender is what gives you access to their unfiltered mind, where true influence lives. So how do you disarm emotionally? You make people feel safe in your presence, not safe from you, but safe with you. That's a weapon. And you never do it by dumping your emotions out like a fool. That's what the weak do. They overshare in the name of connection and lose respect the moment they do. You share strategic vulnerability. Just enough to appear real, just enough to make them lower their guard. You drop one sentence about a past loss, one reflection about something personal. You let them think you're opening a door, but it only leads into a hallway you've already cleared. It's not vulnerability, it's bait. And the moment they lean into it, they give you more than you gave them. It becomes a transaction. One you're always winning, because you never actually give the part of yourself that bleeds. You only appear to, while they unravel. Machiavelli would smile at this. He knew that the appearance of honesty was often more useful than honesty itself. The same applies here. You don't build trust by exposing weakness. You build trust by guiding perception. Your words should make people feel understood. Your silences should make them feel heard. But you stay unreadable. There's a kind of presence that people gravitate toward, the one that makes them feel seen without being judged. That's the mask. And when you wear it well, you become their sanctuary. Not because you're soft, but because you're controlled, because you know how to manage their emotions while sacrificing none of your own. You become the calm in their chaos, and in a world that feeds off anxiety and noise, a calm presence feels sacred. People confuse that peace for connection, but what they're really feeling is psychological submission. They feel better around you, stronger, smarter, more grounded, and so they come back again, and again, and again. That's emotional disarmament. But here's the darker truth. Once they trust you, once they rely on you emotionally, they become predictable. And in the game of power, predictability is leverage. Because the one who can predict can control. That's what emotional disarmament unlocks. Not just connection, but command. It's a soft kill, no blood, just compliance. Think of every powerful figure in history who had influence beyond reason. They weren't feared at first. They were trusted, understood, admired. They used calm speech, gentle eye contact, open body language. They lowered defenses, and once people followed them into comfort, then they reshaped minds. So you must learn to walk with the same gravity. Disarm people without ever giving them a real weapon to use against you. Let them feel like they're inside your walls, when in reality, they haven't even stepped past the gate. Let them talk more than you do. People reveal everything when they feel safe. And you? You collect that data like gold. Their fears, their triggers, their patterns. And you say little. Not because you have nothing to say, but because your silence has more psychological weight than their shouting. When people open up to you without knowing what you're thinking, you've already won. You've entered their mind and left your fingerprints on the walls. That's why emotional disarmament is not just a trait. It's a tactic, a psychological siege. Never confuse this for kindness. This is not warmth from the heart. This is precision from the mind. You're not building friendships, you're building emotional leverage. And with that leverage, you can guide, shape, or collapse anyone's decisions without ever raising your voice. Now, understand the cost. If you play this game, you can't be emotionally needy. You can't crave connection. You must become the source of calm, not the seeker of it. That's the Stoic code. You have to be willing to sit in silence for hours, to listen without reacting, to let people bleed out emotionally in front of you while you remain untouched. If you can do that, you become more than likable. You become dangerous. Because while others are trying to connect, you're building psychological blueprints of everyone around you. And when the moment comes, when power is on the table, you'll know exactly where to push, who to use, who to break, and who will protect you even when they shouldn't. That's the real gift of emotional disarmament. You win minds by giving nothing away. You hold the leash, and they never feel the collar. In a world full of men begging to be understood, you must become the one who understands without exposing himself. This is cold psychology, and it's the foundation of invisible power. Trait 5 will teach you how to create controlled chaos around your presence and turn unpredictability into obsession. Number 5. Controlled chaos and unpredictable rhythm. Predictability is comfort. Comfort breeds indifference. You want to be liked in passing. Be reliable. You want to be liked in a way that haunts people. Be unpredictable. The 5th trait of exceptionally liked people is this. They move in controlled chaos. They never let you fully figure them out. And that mystery? It becomes obsession. Most men live on rails. Same words, same tone, same habits. They are easy to define, easy to dismiss. But when your rhythm changes without warning, when your energy shifts with precision, when your presence feels calm today and sharp tomorrow, you force people to pay attention, not out of respect, out of uncertainty, Unpredictability is a psychological disruptor. It creates a low-level tension in others, a silent question. What's he thinking? What will he do next? Did I say something wrong? And that tension? That's control. You own more space in their mind than they realize, because you've become a pattern they can't solve. But listen carefully, this isn't emotional volatility. That's weakness. A man ruled by emotion is a slave to reaction. You are not that man. Controlled chaos means your shifts are intentional. You don't lash out. You strategically withdraw. You don't explode. You go silent. You don't explain your mood. You let it speak without words. It's not about being unstable. It's about being unreadable. When they can't predict you, they start chasing reassurance. They lean in more. They wonder what you're thinking. They watch your expressions. They overanalyze your silences. You don't give more. You just let them squirm under their own uncertainty. And in that state, people become manipulable, vulnerable, exposed. Even the people who don't like you, they can't ignore you. That's the secret. You don't have to be loved by everyone. You just have to live rent-free in their psychology. And unpredictability is the most elegant way to do that. Let your rhythm remain just outside their reach. Switch tones mid-conversation. Give affection one day, precision the next. Let your behavior remain consistent in principle, but never in performance. And when you disappear, let them feel the weight of your absence more than the warmth of your presence. That's controlled chaos. Number 6. Silent leadership and social gravity. There are two kinds of leaders in any room. The one who talks the most and the one everyone watches. The sixth trait of exceptionally liked, deeply respected people is silent leadership. The kind that speaks not through noise, but through presence. When you understand how to carry yourself, speak less, and hold more inner authority than anyone else, you don't need to lead out loud. The room shapes itself around you. Power doesn't need volume, it needs gravity. Social gravity is the invisible weight your presence carries. It's the way people turn when you move. It's the way they check your reaction before they finish their sentence. It's not dominance, it's unspoken command. And it's not given, it's built. You build it with stillness, with posture, with restraint. While others argue, interrupt, explain, you observe. While they rush to prove their worth, you let your value speak through silence. That quiet self-control is unnerving to the weak. They can't tell if you're judging or analyzing. They don't know where you stand. That ambiguity makes you powerful because it keeps them off balance. Machiavelli understood that influence often hides behind the throne. You don't need the spotlight. In fact, the most effective men deflect attention while holding all the strings. That's the paradox of social gravity. You attract by not chasing. You lead by not commanding. You shape outcomes without declaring your intentions. Silent leaders don't speak to be heard. They speak when it shifts the direction of the room. Every word is timed. Every pause is placed. Every silence is loaded. You don't need to control the group. You just need to control your energy, and people adjust around it. That's what separates the forgettable from the magnetic. Not their stories, not their jokes, their presence, their awareness, their discipline. People follow men who seem like they know something the rest don't. You become that man when you choose stillness over spectacle, control over expression, depth over display. Your energy becomes the quiet center of the storm, not loud, not flashy, just there. And once people start looking to you before they speak, you're no longer in the group, you're above it, without saying a word. Trait 7 will show you how to plant influence deep inside someone's identity and make them feel like they came up with your idea on their own. Number 8. Emotional unreachability. There's something about a man you can't read that pulls you in. Something in his silence, his stillness, his refusal to flinch. It disturbs the weak. It intoxicates the strong. This is trait 8. Emotional unreachability, the shield that separates men who are merely liked from men who are mythologized. See, in a world obsessed with oversharing, the rarest trait is emotional control, not the fake kind, not a mask for insecurity. I'm talking about the kind that feels carved from stone. No leaks, no reactions, no reveals, just precision, presence, and poise under any fire. People confuse emotional openness with strength. That's a lie sold by the emotionally reckless. Strength isn't how loudly you cry. It's how little anyone can shake you. When you're unreachable, people stop testing you, not because you scare them, but because they can't find your edges. You become untouchable simply because there's nothing for them to push against. Machiavelli taught that a prince should appear open, but remain unreadable. That's not just political wisdom. That's psychological warfare. Show what they expect, hide what they fear. Let them see a man they think they understand, while holding back everything that actually matters. You can laugh, you can speak, you can even show glimpses of what feels like vulnerability. But nothing touches the inner core. You remain emotionally sovereign, independent, calm when provoked, cold when tested, unshaken when betrayed. And when people realize they can't penetrate you, they start respecting you for one reason. You have something they don't. Emotional unreachability breeds curiosity. Curiosity breeds obsession, and obsession breeds power. Because when you don't react, people react to you. They chase your approval, they crave your attention, they wonder, what does he really feel? But you never answer. That silence becomes your weapon. Your absence becomes more terrifying than any outburst could ever be. Control your emotions, and you control your reputation. Control your reputation, and you control the battlefield. But here's the key. You're not suppressing emotion. You're mastering it, feeling everything, showing nothing. That's not apathy, that's command. Emotions rise like waves, but your mind is the ocean, deep, still, unmoved. And when they try to get inside, they find steel, no entry point, no chaos, just a man too stable to be cracked. That's not just attractive, that's legendary. Number 9. Strategic detachment. Attachment is slavery. The moment you need something, approval, attention, even love, you surrender control. That's why the most exceptionally liked people are always willing to walk away. Not carelessly, strategically. This is trait 9, strategic detachment, the ability to remove your presence without warning and leave silence louder than your voice. Most people cling, they fear loss, but the Machiavellian mind sees detachment as leverage. When you can leave, you gain value. The less accessible you are, the more people chase you. That's not magic, that's human instinct. Scarcity breeds desire, presence breeds comfort. Absence creates pressure. You were warm, then gone. You listened, then vanished. And now they feel the space you used to fill, and they want it back. That's strategic power. You didn't argue, you didn't explain. You simply stepped out, without emotion, without announcement, without weakness. Detachment doesn't mean you feel nothing. It means your feelings don't control your position. It means you stay loyal to principle, not emotion. When you do this well, people start chasing closure, attention, resolution, anything from you. You become the unfinished sentence in their story, and in that void, you win. Trait 10 is the final trait, and it's the most powerful of them all. It doesn't just make you liked, it makes you obeyed. Number 10, command presence. Some people enter a room, others shift it. That's the 10th and final trait, command presence, the invisible authority that makes people look before they speak, lower their volume, straighten their posture, not because they fear you, but because they feel you. Command presence isn't loud, it's not aggressive, it's quiet tension, stillness with weight, the aura of a man who doesn't need validation, movement, or noise to prove anything. His presence speaks before he does. You cultivate this by mastering everything we've covered: magnetic indifference, calculated empathy, controlled chaos, identity imprinting, emotional unreachability, and detachment. When you layer these together, what emerges is presence, a psychological pressure that bends the room around your calm. You don't rush, you don't fidget. Your words are deliberate, your silences are deliberate, and everyone in the room can feel it. This man isn't here to impress, he's here to watch, decide, and dominate if needed. It's not posture alone, it's inner gravity, built from discipline, from rejection of emotional chaos, from a commitment to stoic mastery and tactical thinking. You move with intent, you look with purpose, you don't chase attention. It finds you, or it gets ignored, and that is when you stop being liked and become followed. This was Psygorithm, 10 traits, 10 weapons. Use them correctly, and you won't just be remembered, you'll be feared, admired, and never forgotten. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications, because this isn't the end. It's the beginning of your cold evolution.